Good morning and happy Sabbath. So good to be in the house of God. So good. Like always, we should be looking forward to this day, the Sabbath. And this week for us it's been another trying week, but God is good, and that's why I always look forward to today, because we can leave all the cares of the world and just concentrate on our Savior, Jesus Christ. So I hope today we will do that. We will exactly concentrate on what our God wants us to be like. We will concentrate on what our God would want us to feel like when we go out in the community, when we share our love, which the love that our Lord Jesus Christ showed us on that cross. So today it's another blessed day because we have a guest speaker. Brother Kok-Tho. I'll just say Kok-Tho. I don't know how you pronounce how do you pronounce?
Oh, it's good.
Kok-Tho. Yeah, because his name actually is my name, but the other way around. If you know what I mean? Because I am Toko and he's Kok-Tho.
Oh, yes.
So it's my name the other way around, which is good. Yeah. But today I hope we're going to be blessed because the program he's bringing, it's something that we have to be mindful about. And we have to be careful about it. Just an introduction to it. It's about mind, meditation, and neuroscience. So it's something to do with the mind, the brain, yeah? And it's about meditation, which of course some of us, we have heard now it's in fashion. Everyone is doing it. So this is some of the things for us, it's important that we have the knowledge about it. That when we go out there, if somebody tells us that this is good, we should know why is it good? Why is it not good? So it is important that we give our attention to details of what our brother has come all the way from Singapore to tell us about. So I hope the children as well have to learn about this because it's not only for the adults, it's for the children because in schools actually, they have introduced this. The children are being taught about yoga, meditation in schools. So it's important for the children as well to know exactly when you go into those schools, how you can be able to contain these situations. So it's not only for the adults, but you, the children as well, and the youth, you have to get more of this knowledge. We, as a church, we are blessed. So thank you, brother. You can come and take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. It's such a privilege to be able to come here and speak with you all. As a way of introduction, when I was 18 years old, I picked up Zen meditation. I grew up as a Buddhist, but in my country, in the East, meditation is everywhere. And the people that meditated were recluses. They were in the caves and by the river. They were antisocial. So I did not want the meditation of the East. But when I came to London to study accounting in London, meditation were done by the celebrities, by the Beatles, the flower people. And it was in London that I picked up a book on Zen. And I meditated from 18 till I was 38. So it really depends on how it is packaged. Now, it is packaged also by the celebrities, by the people in sports, by medical science, by churches, right, by the health movement. So it's packaged to appeal. And it's cool. It's the latest and greatest thing. Harvard just supported it. So I was meditating from very young, 18, and when I became a Seventh-day Adventist, and years after, this is going back maybe 10, 15 years, I began to see meditation, Eastern meditation, coming into the Seventh-day Adventist Church, coming into the West, the Church of the West. The East is coming into the Church of the West, and promoted by big names. It wasn't in a corner in the dark. So I got concerned and I began to research it. Because people want to know not just that it is evil or it is of the East. They want to know why it is dangerous. For example, the question that's usually asked is this: how can meditating on nothing be dangerous? Right? How can emptying the mind be dangerous? But it is very dangerous. I will show you why. Okay. I'm connected with this place called Annan by way of introduction. And Annan is a health center. We've been doing this for over 20 years. It's up in the hills. That's the health center, the one with the red roof. We've got bed space. It's a residential program. We've got bed space for 36 people. We run it continuously. This is a morning scene from the health center. That's the schoolhouse with staff housing. And that one there is the doctor's residence. All our therapists, our staff, they all live up there. And we've got 20 students or so from China, from Malaysia, and so forth. And we run a 1.5 year program to train them on medical missionary and Bible. Now, I'm going to cover a few things today. I'm going to cover neuroscience, why silence and nothingness is actually chock-a-block full of danger, and where it is all going. It is part of humanity's trajectory. It's not just the East, okay? It's meditation. Meditation started with the word Om. And the word Om is Sanskrit, it's Hinduism. And that started not long after the Tower of Babel. I'll show you all that. So that's the title, that's the theme, meditation, mind, and spirituality. And the whole idea is the East and the West is coming together. All right. After you've heard me, there's a lot more that you can dig into, and that's my website, meditationmindyourbrain.com. Okay. Now, meditation, there's the biblical, and there's the Eastern, but the Eastern have got derivatives which are Christianized hybrids. And I'm going to make a difference between the two. I'm going to start with the East. Now, the science of it says this. There's a part of in your brain, in the front, called the anterior cingulate cortex. Okay? I call it ACC for short. It is the place of your hope and optimism. And the scientist tells you this. A special part of the frontal cortex called the ACC is our heart. It is here we experience love, compassion, empathy, sympathy, altruism, and the ACC is also the seat of the will and the place to choose right from wrong. So, is this an important part of your brain? And it is in the front. Is it an important part for worship? It is. For choosing right from wrong? Love. So this part of the brain, the ACC and particularly the frontal lobe, cannot be shut up. Must not be shut up. I will show you many reasons, many neuroscientific explanations of why it is taken offline. If you have a phone, a mobile, how do you take it offline? You put it in airplane mode or you shut it off. Okay? Now, the scientists tell you, and the meditators themselves tell you, that the meditative process takes your frontal lobe offline. How does it happen? In Yoga Nidra, there is decreased blood flow to the prefrontal, cerebellar, and subcortical regions. In other words, when they do yoga, this is Yoga Nidra particularly, it's bliss for your brain. They lie down and they fall asleep. They're relaxed. Why? Because blood flow to the brain decreases. And your brain, and you go to food coma. If you eat too much for lunch, you feel sleepy. It's the same thing. The blood goes from your brain to your stomach. So it gives you that feeling of tranquility. But that's what they go for. Okay, so blood gets out of the frontal lobe. Now, if you Google it, you'll find that the most common phrase relating to Eastern meditation is the frontal cortex tends to go offline. How does the front of your brain, including your ACC, is taken offline, is switched on? How does it happen? Now, Andrew Newberg, he is a researcher of all kinds of meditation. And this is what he found out. There's a lot of words I'll explain to you. The reason there are a lot of words is because some people want the technical, scientific explanation. So I give it to you. Okay. Now, what Andrew Newberg said is this. He looked at people who were doing meditation, all kinds of meditation, mantra, focus on breath, and so forth. The whole process of meditation is to focus on something so that your mind is empty into nothingness. So if I were to ask you here to focus on a spot of light for minutes and then hours, just a spot of light, is it focus or lack of focus? Is it focus or lack of focus? Just a spot of light. Focus, right? Yes. But the whole idea of being focused on a spot of light, so it's so that you are blocking out everything else. So are you focused on everything else? No. No. You're just focused on a spot of light. And nothing else. To the exclusion of everything. So are you focused on everything? No. You're focused on a spot of light. So your brain is trained, the meditator's brain is trained, to focus narrowly, to the exclusion of everything. So that when you do that, you take the frontal lobe offline. Because the frontal lobe is expecting stuff coming in, and you're blocking it out, you're starving it. When the frontal lobe goes offline, Andrew Newberg says, another part of your brain also shuts down. And that's the parietal lobe. Okay, now what is the parietal lobe? The parietal lobe is that which tells you where you are in three-dimensional space. For example, Elder, he knows he's about 10 feet from me, 10 feet from the ceiling. He's got a sense of his body shape. He knows where he is in relation to everything. But when the parietal shuts down, he loses the sense of his body shape, and he feels he is not limited. He loses his position, he loses his reference, and he feels that he is one with everything and everything is one with him. No borders. So that's the place when the mind gets there. The East calls it nirvana, where time stands still, or there is no time, where time is infinite, where it's eternal. Okay? And this is something that most people don't feel. And when that happens, you've got to ask yourself, what is this? Is this real? And when you ask yourself, if you're meditating that then with Hindus, they will say, you're in nirvana. When you're meditating with Buddhists, and it is in Buddhism, it's called liberation, it's freedom. They say you're liberated. Now, when Christians do the same thing, mantra, breath, even using a word like Maranatha, a Christian word, it doesn't matter what you say with your mouth. It's what happens in your brain. The scientists tell you, you can say the word Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola as a mantra, and the same thing happens. So it's not Maranatha, it's not the word it doesn't matter. Okay? So your brain shuts your frontal lobe, shuts your parietal, you have this great new feeling, and you don't know what it is. And now when you're meditating with Christians, what do they say? They say you're in the presence of God Himself. So a neurophenomena is offered a explanation, interpretation of what it is. So Christians are sucked into the same neural phenomena which has many, many expressions. That's where the danger is. It's just neural phenomena. Now, the icon of meditation is this, when you begin meditation, you're yourself a drop of water, whole, complete. But then when your parietal goes down, you drop into the cosmic ocean. You're one with everything, and everything is one with you. Okay, this is the icon. This is what it means. Now, Jordan Grafman, he's a cognitive neuroscientist, director of brain injury research, Chicago. And he says he has looked at brains that are damaged, physically damaged, frontal lobe particularly. And people with frontal lobe damage have mystical experiences. Because the frontal lobe is a control center, it tells you what's real, what's not real, chooses right from wrong. When this control center is damaged, what happens? No control, no inhibitions, mystical experiences. Now this lady, you can look up her up, Jill Bolt Taylor. She had a massive stroke, and she was exercising on a machine. When she lost control with the massive stroke, she said she felt that she was in little pieces blending with the wall. In other words, she lost her body shape. She became one with everything. Okay? So brain damage, a stroke, frontal lobe damage gives mystical experiences. Now James Gray, a Scotsman, founded hypnotism, and he wrote a book. And what his position was, in hypnotism, you need someone to hypnotize another. But after writing his book, his friends in the East said to him, James, no, the guys in the East, the Persians and the people in India are self-hypnotizing. They don't need another person. And James took a look at it and said, yeah, you're right. They don't need an exoteric influence. They don't need someone else. They are hypnotizing themselves. Now, Columbia University tells you what hypnotism is. And they explain it in relation to the front of your brain, the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe of your brain has two places. You heard about the ACC, right? The ACC is responsible for your will, your determination. Another part of the frontal lobe is called the lateral frontal cortex. It's responsible for reality, what's real. So the will and the reality are always active. It protects you. Now, what Columbia University found was when they successfully put someone under successful hypnosis, boom, you hypnotize, and they looked at the brain as it functions. They found out that either the will is down or the reality is down. If your will is down, you are open to suggestion, your will is weak. So they offer you a suggestion, you accept it. Or you sense of reality, what's real. If you're offered a false suggestion, it's not real, the reality is down, you're hypnotized, you accept it. Okay? So successful hypnotism, according to Columbia University, is when one or the other is down. You're hypnotized away. Okay? Now, I want to explain this to you, how hypnotism is Meditation is hypnosis. For example, when your frontal lobe goes down, right? Lack of blood flow, you start it by focusing on nothing, or focusing on something to the exclusion, on nothing to the exclusion of everything. You take it offline. When you take it offline and you've got this great, amazing feeling, the parietal goes down. The suggestion comes in. Right? So when one or when either your will or your reality goes down, you're hypnotized already. When your whole frontal lobe is taken offline, is your reality up or down?
Down.
Is your will up or down?
Down.
Both are down. You are hypnotized. At that point, a suggestion to you, a false suggestion to you, is received. And what is a false suggestion in meditation? If you're Hindu and you decided you wanted to do meditation, before you even go to your guru, what are you saying to yourself? I want to get to nirvana. I want to discover the inner divine, which is in my religion. So that suggestion is always been there. But you've now decided that you will do meditation to get in touch with your inner divine. Okay. By the way, Hinduism, they believe that everyone is born with the inner divine. Born with it. And if I ask you, Seventh-day Adventist, what is this thing that is a lie out there? That the suggestion that most Christians or Hindus say they have, the inner divine. What is that in a Christian or Seventh-day Adventist language?
Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit. More of that. What was said in the Garden of Eden by the serpent? What? Be like God. The immortal soul. So the suggestion then that comes true is that in meditation you're in touch with your inner divine, in touch with your, if I have to translate the inner divine into our language, it's in touch with your immortal soul. Now, is that immortal soul truth or lie? So meditation has made the immortal soul, which is a lie, become true. Right? It was a lie that Buddhism took, that Hinduism took, that yoga took, and now it is a lie in Christianity. Except it's not called the immortal soul. Now, this is how they do it. Oh, come meditate, right? Now, when, for example, an atheist, one who doesn't believe in God, meditates, he discovers something new. And he calls it the true self, the inner self. It's not, to him, not spiritual, not God, not soul, but something better, true self. The scientists who don't believe in God are meditating. And what are they saying they're discovering? Oh, we're discovering that brain network that tells us there's God. A network, a phenomenon. It's still God within. Right? The Hindu, they say, oh, we are born with the inner divine. So we're there to discover it. Now the Christian, who already believe in the immortal soul, are meditating to discover that inner divine, which they call the immortal soul. But it's also characterized as, when the parietal goes down, as, oh, the Holy Spirit within. The original image of God within. Now, it is legitimate for a Christian who has really been converted. Now, conversion, that experience is real. When we die to self and live in Christ, or we take our share in his death and resurrection, the Holy Spirit does come into our life. But without that, the Christians who are nominal, who are really unconverted, who may have slipped back, the advice is, come meditate anyway. Meditation is the sure way revival, of being connected to God. So they're depending on this euphoria, the bridle going down, to give them the feeling only, a neural phenomenon that they are back with God, without needing to go back to share, to take their share in the death and resurrection. So this is where the deception is. Now, so what I've described to you is actually the deep end, that high point where the deception is. But meditation is packaged beautifully. Okay? And I'll describe the package. Okay? So, Newberg, this scientist said, meditation gets you into trance-type states of self-hypnosis or mystical states. Very clear, very plain. Now, Ellen White, she said, the old word, she used an old word, mesmerism, which is hypnotism, will characterize Satan's efforts near the close of probation. So we see meditation in virtually everything. I'll show you more. So in the East, we know that meditation is used to launch you into the spiritual. But in the West, right, it's offered as therapy, feel good, health, and so forth. But it is not. It's meant to affect your brain and your mind in such a way that it launches you into the spiritual. Now, I'll describe this word to you, pantheism. Pantheism. Pan is all, theism is God. This is Buddhism. In other words, God, or not God, not God. The essence, or the spirit, or the energy is in the flowers, in the trees, in the air, and therefore the conclusion is in every man. That's pantheism. So when a Buddhist meditates, he is one with everything, and everything is God. Okay? As an essence, not as a person. Okay? So that's Buddhism. But there's something called extreme panentheism. It still has the word pan, which is all, theism, which is God. But this word en means within, inborn. This is Hinduism. This is false Christianity. If you believe in the immortal soul, right? So how they put it, this meditating, contemplating Christian, right? How they put it is this: God, the substance of God, the very substance of God, is in His creation, all His creation, including everyone, without exclusion. Nothing excluded. So that's extreme panentheism. God is in everyone who have been converted, who have taken their share, their rightful share, their offered share, the offer of love of the cross, taken our share in His death and resurrection. But this one is, you have it from conception, from birth. It's a completely different theory. So, pantheism, which is the whole universe is God, and God, which penetrates and saturates everything that is created, are equally dangerous. That's my point. If Christianity did not believe in the immortal soul, there will be no basis for them to meditate, and no basis. The immortal soul becomes a bridge from east to the west. That's how dangerous the immortal soul is. So here is a picture, the meditative icon. The East has many names for it. Advaita, Nirvana, Satori, this moment of liberation, enlightenment, cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness, and in Christianity, extreme panentheism within, oneness with God. It's the same thing. So here is a few video clips of this man, Father Lawrence Freeman, London, who taught my late Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, meditation now. Lee Kuan Yew did not believe in God. Everybody knows that. He made it his political stand. I'm neutral. Now, Lee Kuan Yew had a stroke. It was after 2008 financial crisis. He was worried for Singapore. He couldn't sleep very well, and he was led to Father Lawrence Freeman in meditation. After 3 years, Lawrence Freeman did a video clip, and asked Lee Kuan Yew some questions. His main question was, has meditation given you a sense of what the spiritual values of life mean? Mr. Lee said, it made him realize that there is an inner self. In other words, it's not an inner divine, it's not of God, it's inner self. Right? Neutral, not God. And Freeman said, and you wouldn't call that a spiritual discovery or a spiritual discovery not religious. Now, what is he suggesting? This is what they all suggest. You don't have to believe in God. You don't have to be a Hindu, Buddhist, or anything. Meditation will get you there. You will discover something spiritual. It's not just a true self, an inner self. It is spiritual. It is so spiritual that it is not religious. In other words, you don't have to be anything. It's in everyone. So the claim of meditators is this: meditation will make religion obsolete. It will unite every religion, therefore there will be no religion, denomination, no faith, they are all one. Now, this is Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh has passed away now. But when I was doing Zen, there's no talk about God. But now Zen is talking about God. The East is coming to the West. This man lived in Paris. The Westerners flocked to him. He almost got the Nobel Prize for peace. Now, in yoga, they have this greeting, or Hindu, namaste. What does namaste mean? It means, it's not just a greeting. It means I see or I honor the divine in you, and you say it back to me. In other words, you honor also the divine in me. It's an assertion of divinity within. That's part of the religion. God and man are united as one from birth. So here is a Catholic father teaching panentheism, and he says we either honor God in all things, or we soon lose the basis for seeing God in anything. You either become an extreme panentheist, or you lose seeing God, you lose sense of God. Are they promoted? So this is now 4th International Yoga Day, not 3rd. It's an all-inclusive humanity, a union of polarities. There is nothing opposite. Because when your parietal goes down, time stands still, you are one with everything. There are no opposites. So the beautiful suggestion is that in meditation, in yoga, everyone is one with everyone else. It's beautiful, right? No one is excluded. And let me explain this to you. The theory, the lie is, I've got the inner divine, so have you, or I may be meditating and I discover it. Woo! But you haven't. But you still haven't. So we're still one. How inclusive. That's how it goes. So here is Dalai Lama, Buddhism, and he said this. What is love? Love is the absence of judgment, and everybody loves it. No judgment. So what is he saying? In love, there's no judgment. Everyone is one, whether you discover it or you haven't. So it's very appealing. It's very seductive. Okay? I want to make this point very clear. This is called no differentiation. It's called non-dual in Eastern, in the East. Not two, but one. Non-dual. Not two, but one. It's not like not two, not two, not two. But the second part is important. but one. Two become one. Okay? So, there's no judgment in non-dual. Right? If good is not good and evil is not evil, they are one. There's no judgment. So, let's divide this church into right down the middle. Right? Let's say you're all country A and you're all country B and you're at war. And I come along and I spy for you against them. And in the second month, I spy for them against you. Do I love you? No. Do I love you? No. To love, you have to make a difference. Right? And in fact, I couldn't care less about you, and I couldn't care less about you. I don't love either of you. That's not love. And it's the same case if you are all good and you're all evil. And I'm friends with you, I'm friends with you all the time. You know, I don't make a difference, so I couldn't care less. So this is false. But it's very sweet. This is absolutely false. What do Seventh-day Adventists believe? Dear God, this is the hour of His judgment. The hour of His differentiating love. The hour of having sanctified you. Given you the desire to be as good as possible by His power. We think differently. So, but what's happening in the world today? Unity. Oh. At global level, at interfaith. And it is hailed as probably the greatest revival we ever see. This is it. I mix with a lot of Protestant friends, and they love it. Malachi 2:17. We have wearied the Lord with your words. Ye have. Yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? When ye say, everyone that doeth evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delighteth in them. Or where is the God of judgment? If God loves both good and evil, there is no judgment. So Ellen White talks about, well, I've been talking about some conceptual, intellectual spiritualism. What I'm addressing is spiritualism. But Ellen White said there's a gross form of spiritualism. And it affects everybody. So there are different strokes for different folks. For the intellectual, for the ones that want to unite the world, there's meditation and applies it to business and US Congress and so forth. And there's the stuff that affects everyone. And she said, the grosser forms of spiritualism is when we don't care about what we see, what we hear, what we eat, what we do. That's gross forms. The same point is, we are not differentiating. That's spiritualism. Okay? That is where it's all going. The unity is, we are not differentiating between truth and error. We don't need doctrines. We are all one already. We have the Holy Spirit. Let's worry, and I'm quoting, let's worry about doctrines later when we're in heaven. So, Buddha's non-dual. Why is it dangerous? Because it is applied, not, the way they sell it is very sweet, all right? If there are 50 of us in this room, and 50 of us meditate and discover our inner divine, then we are one. And in fact, even if we don't discover our inner divine, we are still one. But this non-dual, two become one, are applied to good and evil. Two become, can they become one? In their terms, yes. Life and death, heaven and hell. These things which are meant to be opposites become one. Why? Let me tell you the story of Buddha. Buddha was a prince in a palace. His parents loved him. He grew up, got married, had children, never ever saw death. They brought in young servants, they retired old servants, they kept him within the palace walls. One day, he followed the charioteer out and he saw thoughts, he saw death, and he freaked out. And then he found peace in meditation. Now in Buddhism, they're caught between two things. One is called karma. Karma is your account of good and evil. But understand this, if you have a lot of evil, a whole lot, there's still no sin. You just need to do more good. So that's karma. No concept of sin or need for a savior. Okay? So that's karma. So karma is good and evil. Okay? And this is for the non-meditating Buddhist. You differentiate. And then if you've got a bad karma in your next life, you reincarnate. Life and death, you reincarnate. You reincarnate into something inferior, like a rat. So you go through cycles of this until you build up a good karma and then you are okay. All right? Now, Buddha therefore saw death and got attention, pressure, and he meditated. In meditation, they say he reached a place of liberation, freedom. Freedom from what? From karma. And freedom from reincarnation. Now, his mind, when in meditation, did not differentiate between life and death. When you do not differentiate between life and death, two things become non-dual. Right? So the mind didn't differentiate, and therefore by not differentiating between life and death, he was free. Liberation. No, sorry. On this side, he did not differentiate between good and evil. Therefore, is there karma where there's no good and evil? No. He was free from karma and no life and death. He was free from reincarnation. So that is the Buddhist freedom. But it's applied to these dangerous spiritual opposites. I mean, we believe that God will one day destroy evil. They put it together as one needing the other. Now, so by hybridizing Christian meditation and including their methods, the mind gets into the same state of not differentiating. Is that dangerous?
Is that why we have the whole ghosts and zombies thing? Because there's no death. It's just another form of life.
The ghost and zombie thing is not so much Buddhism. It's Hollywood, I think. Yeah. I don't know. All right. So the danger is when Christians do the same thing and they get that mind state and they don't differentiate because the frontal lobe is down, the ACC is down. And they have the suggestion, you don't have to differentiate, you feel it, and that's God. And in fact, God is so loving, he doesn't differentiate. He loves everyone. And that's what Malachi was, in 2:17, was addressing. Where is the God of judgment? Now, that parallel going down is a deep end. But meditation packages it very appealingly. I'll very quickly go through the packaging. Right? I've already said you can meditate on anything using the word mantra, using Coca-Cola. Doesn't matter. So you're not protected by using Maranatha. You know, Lee Kuan Yew, when he came to Lawrence Freeman, Freeman saw that he was Chinese and offered him, you can choose Maranatha since you speak English, or you can choose this Chinese word, Omitoho. It doesn't matter, you see. So one is Chinese, one is, and this is Chinese Buddhism. So he offered him an English Christian mantra or a Chinese Buddhist mantra. Doesn't matter. Your amygdala. Amygdala is where you feel stress. It's a place at the back of your brain. People in military service in the Middle East, in police service in New York, they are so active in stress that amygdala actually grows bigger. Okay? So when you meditate, your amygdala comes down. You feel tranquil. So you feel good. And that's okay. That's legitimate. But here is the packaging. You feel good. You feel bliss. Okay? Now, alpha and theta waves. Alpha waves is just before you fall to sleep, where your mind drifts. You can't concentrate. It's like if I'm boring, you're drifting off. And you don't know what I'm saying. Okay? Theta is when you're deep sleep and you really don't know what's going on. Meditation brings a lot of this kind of brain waves into your brain. But when you're in beta, as you are now, all looking very alert, that's fast wave. You're assessing what I'm trying to say. You're comparing notes with what you know. That's beta. But beta waves are overtaken by more alpha and theta. So you feel also pretty comfortable as in drifting off to sleep. That's packaging. And scientists say mindfulness, which brings in all these waves, gives you optimizes your inattention and power to ignore. So meditators have great power to ignore problems in their life. And that's why I meditated. I was stressful. I wanted to ignore my stress. I make a joke here about this power to ignore. I said, if you should quarrel with your mother-in-law, you don't have to make peace or resolve the situation. You meditate and she meditates and everything is okay. That's the power to ignore. They've got false memories, increased false memory. Dopamine. Dopamine is the stuff of addiction. Like foods, your mobile. It's the brain produces them. When you meditate, you get 65% more dopamine. So meditators just meditate. They don't speak to each other. They're in a world of their own. So this is the packaging. You get so this bliss and this tranquility, and your amygdala comes down, you're addicted. You do more and more, and then the frontal lobe goes down, the parietal goes down. Now, you can't say to yourself, I want some of this alpha waves, and I want some of this amygdala, and I don't want a dopamine. But you're an auto. You're not a manual. You can't select. The brain just goes and you could kick in. Right? So, don't think you can control this animal, this beast. All right. Okay, I want to talk about Psalms 19. Okay, this is when I want to talk about what is true biblical meditation. What are the outcomes? So Psalms 19 verse 14 is when King David ended his meditation. He said, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. So King David is meditating. He started meditating in verse 1, the stars and sky and the sun. And then he said the sun is like a bridegroom, a strong man. And then he began to meditate on the law, the statutes, and judgment, and said, these are very good. They give reward and warning. Now, so, was King David saying, I'm one with the universe? No. He said, this is evidence of God. The heat of the sun is like penetrating everybody. No one can escape. Right? And then he said, the bridegroom, he personified the sun as a bridegroom. That's Christ. Coming for a wedding, the bridegroom comes for a wedding. And then he filled himself, he didn't empty himself, filled himself with statutes, judgment, the law, and said, these are very good. He's preparing for a wedding. And then he said, Lord, reveal to me my secret thoughts. Now, what are secret thoughts? It's thoughts that your own deceitful heart hides from yourself. But God knows. So he trusted God, he loved God, he opened his heart, he became transparent. Show me my secret thoughts. And then he said, show me my presumptuous sins. Again, King David, like all Christians, can presume a lot of good things about themselves. But reveal to me who I really am, what I need to do. And he said, to be innocent of the great transgression. So this is an outcome of biblical meditation. To trust God so much that in the power of his love, as in a marriage, that we desire only to be pure. And we open our hearts to God, to know where we are so that we can heal, and that he will heal us. So that's biblical meditation. But the East, think about the East. What happened to Buddha? Did he differentiate? No. So this is where the danger is. It's so assuring in the East that it's worthless as a spiritual matter. It just assures you. But biblically, it's love, it's strength of love that converts us. So you must bear this in mind. This is the gold standard of biblical meditation. Okay, so far, I actually have a break here when I talk to most people. I say, if you want more information, go into my website, meditation-mindyourbrain.com, or YouTube. You've got to do this kind of a name, or Audioverse, which is Western. You've got to do the Western name. Okay, so I'll go on. All right. Now, what we're dealing with is spiritualism. I started with the knowledge. Now, let's just go through it very quickly so that I can dramatize this for you. Okay? Ye shall not surely die. That's what Satan said. In the day you eat thereof, your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, the message here is don't differentiate. You don't need to differentiate. Let me try to dramatize this aspect for you. God said, you can eat of every tree, but not that one. And Satan said, Eve, eat of my tree. Eve said, no. God said, I'll die. And Satan said, no, you don't have to differentiate between God's tree and my tree. And Eve said, I'll die. And Satan said, no, you don't have to differentiate between life and death. And Eve said, well, God is good. I can't come over to your side. Satan said, don't differentiate between God and my side. On my side, you still be as God. No differentiation. Your eyes will be open to that fact. And then he said, come on over, urging her. But Eve said, God is good. I know him to be good, absolutely good. He said, on my side, come over. You don't have to differentiate about good or bad. Come, and you go beyond good. You know good and evil. No boundaries. Freedom. That was the seductive love. And we see that aspect in meditation, in Eastern meditation and Christian hybrids. And that's why the immortal soul is so toxic, because it suggests this, that everyone has the immortal soul. You are born with it. So when you're born and you grow up, you may be doing evil things, but you're still divine. It's a combination of two opposites as one. Amen. So that's pantheism, and that's extreme panentheism. And spiritualism, little by little, Satan has prepared the way for his masterpiece of deception in the development of spiritualism. He has not yet reached the full accomplishment of his designs, but he will be reached in the last remnant of time. So as we see this developing across the world, the East didn't have Christianity to block it off, right? So it spread all throughout the East. Now it's coming to the West. as something beneficial. Thank you. So we are seeing a globalization of spiritualism. And we're seeing a masterpiece where the immortal soul, which is a lie, has become truth for Christians. Not only, theoretical truth, as in the Bible, we die, when we die, we go to heaven or hell. Not just that, but experiential truth. I can feel it. Meditation has given Christianity a way of feeling this so-called truth. So that's where the danger is. So she said, Ellen White said, the wine of Babylon is heresy, that's true. But two things are very active in the wine of Babylon. The immortal soul and Sunday sacredness. The immortal soul, she said, is the foundation of the wine of Babylon. What's the foundation for this house of strength? The Sunday sacredness is only the bond of sympathy. It's the handshake. So, which is more dangerous? Or which comes first? The foundation. And it's been laid in Eden. That's many thousands of years ago. And it's developed into so many things. So, Father Richard Rohr, he developed this thing called non-dual Christianity. He's teaching people to meditate. He's making connections with the East and so forth. And he said this, at the beginning, for both Jesus and us, the soul is already one with God. So you're born with a soul that's already one with God. Just as Jesus is the Son of God, we also are sons and daughters of God from conception. And then it goes on, and it says, yet this divine conception is hidden from all of us until we discover it. How? In meditation. And the Catholics are very big on this. And here is Father Thomas Keating. He just passed away. He did, this is what happened to him. In 1965, at Vatican II, Pope John Paul accepted Buddhism and Hinduism as ways to God. And young Catholics went to India and meditated. And Father Thomas Keating said, Lectio Divina, our meditation is too weak. We must combine it. We must make it more powerful. He combined it with Zen and transcendental meditation and came up with this thing called centering prayer. In these few words, he said how centering prayer in 3 steps brings you to be one with God. Okay, let's just read his words. The spiritual journey, the first step, is the realization, not just the information, but the real interior conviction that there is a higher power of God. Or to make it as easy as possible for everybody, there is an other, capital O. Why is he changing God to another, capital O? Because the other, capital O, is the God for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're Hindu or Buddhist or whatever. Okay? Second step, to try to become the other, still a capital O. To try to become God. And finally, the third step, the realization there is no other. You and the other are one, always have been, always will be, you just need one. Always have been, go on with it. Always will be. It doesn't matter where you are spiritually, it doesn't matter. You will always have God in you. And if you should think you are not, it's your fault. You just think you aren't. But you still got it. He sells it like hotcakes. He does. He's very popular. He teaches like 40,000, 50,000 people every year. Okay, this is Father Thomas Merton. I'm going to read what he said now. This is the man Pope Francis spoke about to Congress when he visited. He told Congress, your job is to unite people and religion. And how to do it? Ignore all polarities, all opposites. Do not differentiate between sin and righteousness. He said that. And then he said, follow the example of Father Thomas Merton, his contemplative style. Okay? This is to US Congress. Okay, I read Father Thomas Merton, one of his famous quotes, and you tell me whether he spoke like the serpent in Eden. Okay? All right. At the center of our being is a point of nothingness, which is untouched by sin and by illusion, a point of pure truth, a point of spark which belongs entirely to God. Because when you die, that is all that is left. When we die, everything is destroyed except this one thing, which is our reality that God preserves forever. He will not permit its final destruction, for it is from that center that everything else comes. Contemplative prayer is nothing other than coming into consciousness of what is already there. So did he say, you will not surely die? Did he say, you will be as God? The spark is 100% God, it's in you. Did he say, your eyes will be open? Yeah, there it is. Coming into consciousness is your eyes will be open. Did he say, you will have knowledge of good and evil? Yeah. Because he said, untouched by sin, you can do what you want. That part of you is still untouched by sin. So I showed this to some friends, and one of them said, wow, he speaks more eloquent than the serpent. So Ellen White says, if God is an essence pervading all nature, then he dwells in all men. And in order to attain holiness, man has only to develop the power that's within him. You discover, you're not converted. That's what the East and hybridized Christian meditation is suggesting. So it started there, started here, in Eden. And then shortly thereafter, it was Tower of Babel. And it was about unity. Tower of Babel was about unity because they said, we want to build this tower to make a reputation for ourselves together in unity. One language, right? It's got unity. And there was sun worship, and there was immortal soul, because Nimrod was made God. And then shortly thereafter, this is the sign of it's about 200 years after Tower of Babel, Hinduism. This is what it is. God, and this means God and man are one. That's what it means. And so then you've got yoga, which is Hinduism, all-inclusive humanity, everyone is one, union of all polarities. And this is the Asian Chinese yin-yang. And what does yin-yang mean? Here's what it really means. This cartoon captured it. It says the black here's the bad, the white here's the good. The little black dot in the white, here is the bad that's in the good. And the little white dot is here's the good that is in the bad. You put it all together as one, it is life. So life is yin yang. Life is a combination of both good and evil. That's what they're suggesting. Inescapable. That's what they're suggesting. Black is good, good is black. That's the suggestion. This has pervaded all of these. The cartoonists understand this. There's the white, angel's wings and the halo, the black, the horn, the pitchfork, and the tail. They understand this. Now, Tai Chi. You've seen Tai Chi, Chinese guys, Asian guys doing this, right? I've always thought it was balance, but it's not balance. It's not just balance. The novice tries to balance, but the master is the one who has put opposites into one supreme ultimate. Is there anything more supreme than God? No. But the master is one who has achieved not balance, but to combine the opposites into one. That's the meaning of Tai Chi. This is in the Korean flag, this is in the Korean airlines, this is in our culture. It hangs in our homes, in offices. symbol of black and white together, intertwined. You can't separate them. Interlocked, good and evil. Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah meditation. Elijah informs us of God's indivisible unity, transcending everything, precluding the existence of anything other. God is in everything, nothing is excluded. That's Kabbalah. And it's based on the Torah, right? They base it on the Torah. But this is Jewish mysticism. Kabbalah believes in immortal soul. Kabbalah believes that God can corrupt his creation, that good meets evil. Meditation, body is bad, little man is good. You know, it's even in the cartoons. Plato, flesh is corrupt, spirit is good, but nonetheless they are in one man, in a person, combined. To live is to be easy. Socrates, extreme, right? Thesis and antithesis. Where is truth? Truth is not here, not there. It's in that synthesis, in the middle. When you combine. So, not two, but one. Remember this thing. Not two, but one. That's where it is. So meditation is the same thing. You listen to the little inner man in your body. Beyond good and evil. This is a game that young people play on the internet. The good evil. Can you see the evil that's in the good? Evil, the good. Shakespeare. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's not there's nothing truth or false. It's just how you think. So it's in a culture, in art. So you've got the yin yang with a rainbow. Found it. You've got fluid gender. Don't really know whether you're a boy or a girl. I can be a boy one day and girl another. So it's a mixture. Okay, this is about Homer. The real statue, they wanted to put it in Detroit, and BBC went over to find out what it is all about. And BBC found this out. Homer symbolizes a hermaphrodite. It joins together human and animal, male and female, above and below. It embodies opposites, celebrates contrast, reconciliation of opposites, differences without conflict, to be set opposite the 10 Commandments, not in opposition, but in celebration of contrast. In other words, opposites are not opposites. They are one, to be celebrated. Can you notice his finger? Not two, but one. Now, Christianity. We believe in doing good, in one desiring to be good. We surrender that God may sanctify us. And it is only through Him that we can do what is good by His power.
The difference between our conflict.
The difference between?
The difference between our conflict. I'm thinking, am I seeing that this is one of the diversity, concept of diversity?
University in diversity.
Am I seeing that in difference with our conflict? So here is that in the care concept is bringing all the diversity together.
Yes. Here is the extreme, heaven and hell, life and death, right? Above and below, man and woman. These are not opposites, is what I'm saying. 10 Commandments and the Homer is not the opposite. Diversity. It's staring you in the face, you know. If this great diversity is united, is one, then all the little diversities comes into the wash. So evolution, not very different from Baphomet. I was about to say this about Baphomet. We talk about sanctification. And a lot of Christians, a lot of churches resist sanctification. Oh, you don't need to be sanctified. Look at the two thieves on the cross. So there's this idea of resisting sanctification. And this entire thing about good and evil being one, not differentiating, is in our education system, is in our religious thought. And it comes in as an expression of resisting sanctification. Goldman Sachs top bank is doing this mindfulness thing, meditating, because one of their directors, William George, is doing it, and the people who want to do it within the bank is like miles long, can't be satisfied within a year. It's so popular. There was G20, Goldie Hawn, and this French Buddhist monk, they are teaching Eastern meditation as a way of warding off stress. Pope Francis honors Katy Perry to promote transcendental meditation. And this is a Catholic news agency against it. Okay, Pope Francis visits the US Congress. And I told you, he said to them, to unite people, it's too simplistic to see only good or evil, or if you will, the righteous and sinners. We must confront every form of polarization. We will bring peace between people and religion. He, Merton, will bring, his style will bring peace and between peoples and religions. So peace in the contemplative style of Father Thomas. That's what he said. And here is something you ought to be familiar with. About 50 years ago, in the 60s, 70s, John Lennon had this song which became very popular, Imagine There's No Heaven. And the lyrics in the song was, imagine there's no heaven, no hell below us, and no religion too, and the world lives on, and the world will live as one, united. Now, where did this song, what's the inspiration for John Lennon? He was meditating with Maharishi. And this song, after Pope Francis addressed the United Nations, Shakira sang the song in his honor. Now, what's this all about? How can a pope hit a religion, so-called, except there's no heaven, no hell, no religion too, and that's peace for the world? Because he is a panentheistic pope, and this is what the Association of Jesuit Colleges in University said of him. To think that the leader of the Catholic Church is one who follows it, the tradition of Ignatius, whose life has been devoted to finding God in all things. God is in everything, therefore everything is one. So we are seeing spiritualism at the highest level in the US Congress and the United Nations. And the United Nations has a meditation room, but it is not about meditation, it's about unity. Prime Minister of India, the present century, we are observing that yoga has connected the entire world. Why? Because the basis of yoga is that all men are one with God, born as such. Okay, where is this non-dual, non-differentiation in the Bible? Okay, light for darkness, darkness for light, you must make a differentiation, right? Ezekiel 8:16, the elders in the sanctuary were worshipping the sun, probably on a Sunday. It's a blending of two opposites. Laodicea, hot or cold. You got a hot tap and a cold tap, and you mix them, lukewarm comes out. Lukewarm is a combination, not two but one. You know, I've always thought, Laodicea, what's so wrong with being hot? Neither hot nor cold, you know? It means this. That's why it's so evil. If you are cold, and when you admit it, at least you can become hot. But when you are mixed up, there's no return. Apostate Israel. Satan didn't say Israel, worship only me. He said, no, worship me and God. It's okay. And Elijah had to come to the truth. And Zephaniah, addressing Jerusalem and Judah, in Zephaniah 1:7, he said, hold thy peace at the presence of the Lord, for the day of the Lord is at hand. And 5 verses later, he said, and it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and to punish the men that are settled on their lees. They're settled like sediment. That's what it means. How are they settled like sediment? That's saying in their heart, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. If that's the Lord, then we don't have God. Not too bad. So, Ellen White said, the enemy of our souls is earnestly at work to introduce among the lost people pleasing speculation and incorrect views regarding the personality of God. If we believe all that, we subscribe to it in a light way, we're changing the personality of God. He becomes something like that, oh man. The sentiments regarding the personality of God, as found in the book Living Temple, this is when Kellogg introduced pantheism, are opposed to truths revealed in the Word of God. Now, Abraxas, this is Carl Jung, this noted psychiatrist, commenting on Abraxas. Abraxas speaketh that halo and a curse word, which is life and death. At the same time, Abraxas began truth and evil, lying, good and evil, light and darkness in the same word. Now, if we, as Seventh-day Adventists, or any Christian, do not subscribe to sanctification and resist it, we are subscribing then to this nature. And that's an obstacle in your path. So we must get it very clear. So I'm not talking just about meditation. This meditation presents to us a seductive life. And when you see that seduction, you realize you've got to move away from it. Ellen White said it's free loveism. She looked at it and didn't know what to say, what to think. That was Kellogg's thing, right? And finally, she was instructed to call it unholy spiritual love. It's so free. It's so easy. And she called it the sanctification of sin. But it's called the alpha of a train of heresies, which brings in the omega, the last carriage, for which she trembled for. Okay. So, I'll skip Kellogg, I'll skip Wagner. Okay, the Wine of Babylon is Spirit Sabbath and the immortality of the soul. These and kindred heresies. Yes, the Wine of Babylon are kindred heresies, but the immortality of the soul is the foundation, the strength. Start there. And she said this, where is the logical conclusion of pantheism? Where is the logical conclusion of the alpha heresy? She said, if God is an essence, she's addressing pantheism, the alpha, pervading all nature, then he dwells in all men. And in order to attain holiness, man has only to develop power that is within him already, right? And then she said, these theories, in other words, these pantheistic theories, these theories, followed to their logical conclusion, sweep away the whole Christian economy. They do away with the necessity for the atonement and make man his own savior. So, what is the logical conclusion of pantheism? Pantheism is where God is in essence, pervading all nature, the flowers and trees in the air, in every man, not personified. What is the logical conclusion of an essence? We follow it all the way through. It's God as a person, right? Essence, person. And the logical conclusion, an essence will not seduce Christianity because they believe in God as a person. But now, panentheism, that God as a person, penetrates, saturates, and is in everything without exclusion, can seduce Christians. So, panentheism is the logical conclusion of pantheism. And it will sweep away the whole nature. she said, it is Satan's work to mingle evil with good and to remove the distinction between good and evil. Christ would have a church that labors to separate the evil from the good, whose members will not willingly tolerate wrongdoing, but will expel it from the heart. Yeah, I'll be ending here with focus on the three angels' message. Now, what is the three angels' message? And where is the relevance to spiritualism and Eastern meditation and Christian hybrids? The first message is righteousness by faith. Fear God. When we fear God, we will hate evil, pride, arrogance. That's Proverbs telling us that. And when we love, the more we love God, the more we hate sin. And when we hate sin, we want to be sanctified. So fear God, give glory to Him. How do we give glory? We yield ourselves in faith. And then we give glory. Worship Him who made the heavens and the earth. You see, that's Sabbath. And Sabbath is a sign of our sanctification. So the first message is righteousness by faith. It is only when we have righteousness by faith, truly, that we will hate evil. We will hate the one in Babylon. If we did not have righteousness by faith, why? It doesn't really matter very much. Then it's theoretical. It's only a theory. It's only a matter of the mind. Right? So when we have righteousness by faith, and He has done so much for our own lives, we will hate evil. We will hate the one in Babylon in the marketplace. So, as we grow in sanctification, we grow in courage, strength. We grow in love for truth, and we hate the falsehood. And so there is this, only when we love God do we feel the need to proclaim this falsehood. And this falsehood is growing rapidly, day after day. And it's become so significant, it's taking people by the millions. Christianity, a recent survey, said that most Christians are leaving denominational religion and seeing that it's about 20% over the last 10 years, seeing themselves as spiritual. What does that mean? Religion, the traditional churches are not spiritual, but by leaving them, I'm more spiritual. So they are leaving doctrine and truth for an inner spirituality. That's what's happening. So, a lot of my friends in Singapore, they say to me, oh, when the latter rain comes, I'll be okay. But right now, I'll cruise. Time is still good. Okay? And here is what Ellen White said. The latter rain is not just the Holy Spirit. It is also the message. And in fact, she said the message opens the heart. And when the message opens the heart, then the latter rain falls into the vessel. Okay, so let's read it. Those who will follow on with the people of God, suffer trials with them, press on with them, when the mighty angel descends from heaven, clothed with the panoply of heaven, and gives strength to the third angel. The power of the message is felt by them. The heavenly showers fall on them. The latter rain drops in their vessels. The message, but this is a message of love, mind you, because the people who give the everlasting gospel, they are the ones who love not their lives unto death. There is no greater love than when a man gives his life for another. So this is a message of love, unequal. But it comes as a message too. It comes by a people courageous and loving enough to give the message when everything acts against them by giving the message. And then when people see this kind of people and this kind of message, the heart opens and the latter rain falls. So, The whole purpose of me coming here is not to say, oh, meditation is evil. And so, if I'm not doing it, I'm okay. No. It is the nature of evil that's rearing itself up. And meditation is just one of them. It's an expression of, not two but one. It's an expression of non-differentiation. And it's an expression of false love. It's drawing the whole world into unity. I just want to tell you this story. You may have heard it before, but it emphasizes where we are. See, Satan had deceived Eve. That was 6,000 years ago. And this philosophy, this lie, has gone into the East, India. It's gone into exercise, gone into Shakespeare, it's gone into Greek philosophy, it's hanging over every Buddhist door, it's in Korean Airlines, it's in yoga, it's uniting the world, as Prime Minister of India said. This non-dualism, this non-differentiation has expressed itself in every field of human activity, in exercise, in Tai Chi. It's coming to the West. That's 6,000 years of work. A lot of work. And now, in the last 50 years, since the Vatican II, it's come through the Catholic Church into the Protestant Church. Rick Warren tweeted out, do centering prayer. Father Thomas Keating centering prayer, being one job. Yeah. Brian McLaren is speaking out and he's been invited to our church to address us. Leonard Sweet of Fox University. He taught 4 of our pastors, and they came back and they formed the One Project in the US. And this stuff is everywhere. Harvard is teaching yoga. Our Loma Linda is promoting Buddhist meditation and mindfulness. So I'm not here to badmouth our church. We've got to understand how it works and what's happening. So, this story is about time has moved on, a lot of things have happened. And the story goes, if you blocked up all the drainage holes from this Fenway Park and put a drop, 1 milliliter, 1 cc of magic water right there. And this magic water in 1 minute becomes 2 milliliter. Right? 1 becomes 2 in 1 minute, not 1 second. And 2 becomes 4 in the second minute, and so forth. In 5 hours, the experts calculated this place will be filled with 5 feet of water. Okay, now it took one of you, handcuffed you 80 feet up there in the seat, right? How soon will that water get to you? How many more minutes or hours? All right, let's work it out together. The point I'm making is a lot has happened since Eden. A lot has happened since Vatican II. Things have happened unseen, and that's why we're seeing expressions of them almost daily. Because it didn't happen like, oh, A happened today. Therefore, by the enthusiasm, B is happening tomorrow. No, it's all choreographed. It's happened for a long, long time. So, this water is now 5 feet deep, and it's after 45 minutes, and you're 80 feet handcuffed. With a key, you can unlock yourself. So, in 1 more minute, 5 feet becomes double, 10. In 1 more minute, 10 becomes. In 1 more minute, 20 becomes. In 1 more minute, 40 becomes 80. You got to get out. There's something called tipping point, right? If you take something on a chair, right? A chair, and you tip it, and a lot has happened since Eden. You tip it, tip it, tip it, tip it, tip it. And when the center of gravity goes over the middle, you can't help it from falling. That's the story. So are we at 5 feet? And you can't even say, are we at 6 feet? It's not the game. You got to ask yourself, are we at 5 feet or 10 feet? Or 20? Or 40? That's the way to ask this question. So I present to you these aspects for consideration, that we are a privileged people. Is there another church, a body of truth that has the immortality of the soul as the centerpiece of Satan's attack on God's people? No. If we look at institutions of religion, they are all against this. There was a man called John Stott and another man called Oscar Cullmann. They were noted theologians. They discovered and wrote about the immortality of the soul, and they were persecuted. So, they are just presenting a paper. If we were to say, oh, the immortality of the soul is the modern spiritualism, it's going to bring the whole world, it's going to take away Christianity. And that's what we have to say. And we have to say it against a unity that's happening on the platform of love, of mutual respect, of compassion. How are we going to do it? So I'll end here, and we'll get into the second part later. So thank you. Hope you all. I can take some questions actually.
Yeah, I just wanted, we were talking about the subject you presented here, and just to put more emphasis on it, that here in the UK, the NHS prescribe, doctors even tell their patients to do yoga or to do meditation, mindfulness, and it's being promoted in the health service. But at the same time, when we heard about the Mercy Prospect, I went out to just do a bit of research, and I found out that even the NHS is saying something bad about meditation and mindfulness about it. And a lot of people believe that 65% of people who do meditation, they have ended up being suicidal.
Being what?
Suicidal.
65%?
65%. And it brings in a lot of stress as well. Yeah, depression.
Really?
Yeah. So I was shocked that they are promoting it, and now their own website is saying the opposite of it, and that's the danger of it.
Okay, I mean, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and mindfulness stress relief is meant to relieve stress.
Yeah, and it's saying here, even it's saying that some people experience hallucinations.
I need that information. Okay? I want more. I've got a website and I put new information in. I would really appreciate that.
I'll pass it on.
Thank you very much. That's good.
With regards to, it's quite concerning to contemplating prayer.
You need to speak a bit louder for my ears.
Contemplative prayer
Contemplative prayer.
and spiritual formation.
Yes.
These are things that have been embraced by the seminaries.
Yes.
As a big concern because its roots are from Ignatius of Loyola.
Yes. That's true.
What can we do about it? I mean, prayer, and the thing is as well, it's got to, you've got to be able to detect it, because these things come through in such a surreptitious manner that you don't actually realize it. In fact, I remember many, many years ago, even before I got married, I was reading some information that was talking about you just imagining that you're in the woods and there's two tree stumps and you go to the woods the tree stumps, and Jesus is sitting on one stump, and you sit on the other, and you communicate with him. And that's what this reading that I had was actually promoting. And I didn't know anything about spiritual formation or contemplative prayer. And it was way back then that this thing seemed to be being introduced into our church.
Well, I must give some credit to Ted Wilson in his inauguration speech. He attacked these things. He said, don't let it come into the church. But that was a long time ago, and it's still growing. So I have met some people from GCE, and I've asked them, how is it that Ted Wilson can say one thing, and this thing can still grow? Because the academia is very powerful, right? The unions are very powerful, and they say, this is what we want to do. So I sympathize with Ted Wilson. I was very impressed with his inauguration speech. Don't touch these things. So it happens. Alan White trembled. It doesn't come in as, oh, this is the immortal soul, accept it. It comes in as therapy. It's good news. It's antidepressant. It's lighten up your life. Yeah, that's where it's coming. So it comes from the highest levels, from universities and from other universities. So there you go. Everyone, I think, has to assess this for themselves. And that's why I made it a point in my life to speak about this, hopefully convincingly, and to give people the information. All right, any more questions?
In the evening, we tend to watch songs of praise from BBC and television, thinking that it's good. And to some extent, it is good, but it's the mixing of, you'd say, that the doctrines have gone out of the church. When the BBC want to film something, they want to film a church full of people, they'll get people of all denominations to come into that church and sing in unity their praises to the Lord. And it strikes me that we've been duped a little bit in thinking that we're watching something good.
Yes.
But after listening to you, I think we need to switch it off.
All right. I mean, BBC has said a lot of falsehood,
Yeah.
I think they said Jesus, in the quiet years of his life, had gone to Turkey to do meditation. Easter,
Right.
things like that. So you can't trust the media.
No.
Yeah, you gotta fend for yourself and know what's true. Yes. And it's a unique truth. And we, as SDAs, have had the privilege in 1903 and the earlier years, somewhat earlier, 5 or 6 years earlier, of having chucked out pantheism, the Alpha. We have had that benefit. So we should know and be prepared for the Omega. And that's so important. So important. We've had that privilege. We are a privileged people.
The only problem is, I think, within our church today, is that in terms of our past, we don't know much about it.
Yes.
That's the big problem.
It's
the White said that if we
big problem. We don't know our past. We don't know our doctrines as we should. And we've gone light because we have. The three angels' message to me is so precious. I've been meditating, right, Eastern Star, and I could not see the danger even after I became SDA, and I only saw it because I read Ellen White.
Wow.
Now, she had never seen pantheism. She'd never been in the East, but she nailed it down to the T. So we are a privileged people, and if we don't know our past and don't know our writings,
we're in trouble.
we're in trouble. So I, by the grace of God, I've been pulled out of that Eastern stuff and pulled up into the right church. And because if I've been pulled out to the wrong churches, I'd still say to myself, I'll be sitting in the pews and I'll say to myself, oh, I was a Zen Buddhist meditator, but now I'm in a Christian church and they're all the same. Hallelujah. That's what's happening. What happened to me first was a friend of mine in the US, Chinese, from Singapore, went there, made quite a lot of money, and came back. I haven't seen him for maybe 20 years, kept in touch once in a while, and he said to me, why don't you read these books? You know, and gave me a few authors, and it was all about contemplation. And I said, why are you supporting this? He said, no, if we're doing church, we're all dried up. And if you do this thing, it will bring the life back in you. And I said, what? I said, I'm all alive already. You gotta not fall into their sales pitch. You know what I mean? Yeah, I said, I'm all alive already. Why do I need this? I said, and he was, when we were young, about 20 years old, he wanted to bring me into church because I was still doing Zen. And I said then to him, you know, this is going years later, I said, when I met him and he was promoting the stuff, I said, when I was doing Zen, you were trying to make me a Christian. If you didn't make me a Christian and I'm still doing Zen, I'd be a very good Christian today. Now, this stuff comes very surreptitiously. Now, Zen stories, I don't know if it's still taping, but I know it's chopped. Shall I end?
Yeah, that's all right. You can go on.
Okay. Not good, not evil. Right? Not good, not evil. So two become one. Now, you heard of the story of the three wise monkeys. All right? They don't hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. They do no evil. But do they do any good?
No.
Silent, right? So the three wise monkeys are Buddhist monkeys. You know this? Japanese Buddhist monkeys. They don't do good, they don't do evil. They live neither good nor evil. Is that two in one?
Yeah.
It's so surreptitious. So, I thought I'd end there. And it's 12, so I'll take the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna go for